to listen about PBA. So our title is Design Our Future. We are Peter Brett Associates. We are a design consultancy company, primarily in civil engineering, structural engineering, bridge design. So I'll just introduce our speakers today. It'll be me and Claire. So I'm Rachel. This is Claire. We are working in HR. We're based in Reading. And we also have Stuart Russell, who is an apprentice in civil engineering based in our Bristol office. So a little bit about PBA. We have 700 staff, over 17 offices throughout UK and Europe. There are 15 offices in the UK. As you can see, broad range of offices from the North Midlands to the South, Southwest, Southeast. We had a turnover of 62 million in 2016 and 17. We are a multidisciplinary consultancy company. So we have quite a few broad range of disciplines. We are planning, environment, transport, civil engineering, and buildings. We'll go into a little bit more about what engineering actually is, in case anybody isn't quite sure what engineering is, and one of our apprentices will talk you through that. As you can see, lots of different areas for lots of different people to come into. So I'm just going to hand you over to Claire, who will talk about our apprenticeship scheme. Thank you.
Okay. Is this on? Hello. Hello. So our apprenticeship scheme takes you from practically at school, so you can start with a level 3, which is equivalent of an A level. You can then move on to a higher national certificate, which is approximately a level 4 or level 5, and we can take you through honours degree as well. And then we will very shortly be able to help you go through a master's degree. So it gives you the opportunity to get the learning, but also earn while you're learning as well. And what we're very keen on at PBA is that we actually sponsor you for your chartership or incorporation, so that we make sure you are the best of the best and you are proving that your skills are worth it in the market. So that's our journey. So what does an apprentice look like at PBA? So what we're looking for is a minimum of 5 GCSEs, grade A to C, or now that looks like grade 9 to 4. Is that correct? 9 to 4? Yeah, 9 to 4. Keen interest in civil engineering and the built environment. Not all of us know the wonderful things that Peter Brett actually does, but it's all around you. It's all kinds of things, from planning a transport network, from building a bridge like the one we have in Reading. We're looking for people that are creative, so we're not necessarily looking for people that just think in one way. We're looking for people to try and come up with some innovative ideas and thoughts. We love team players. We definitely work as a team. It's very collaborative, and that's one of our core values. And we just want people who are ambitious, who want to grow their career and actually make something of their time with us at PBA. So that's what we expect an apprentice to look like. So that could be you. We do work with a lot of larger businesses. You may not have heard of PBA because we are relatively small, but you would know some of the people that we work with. So, for example, we've been working with the Oxford University, Balfour Beatty. We've been working with Volker Fitzpatrick. It's got quite a number of names. So what we do is we offer consultancy advice and help with any of those. So it could be from commercial companies, it could be down to retailers, it could be landowners making building from scratch or redoing their land. So it's a wide variety of things that we do, but you wouldn't necessarily have recognised our name straight away. I'm going to hand over to Stuart now. Stuart is one of our apprentices. He's going to tell you a bit about his journey and how he's got on. Stuart is going to tell you why he chose this journey as well. So I'll hand over to him.
Hello all, nice to see so many people have managed to make it so far. I mean, I'm surprised you could all fit in, to be honest, so well done for getting here. So I'm Stuart Russell, was an apprentice at PBA, sort of outside of the apprenticeship now. I'm all finished with that educational side of things for now at least, so that's good. So I'm 25 now. I left school after my GCSEs, initially went into a career that wasn't civil engineering and wasn't really a career for me. So I started looking around, trying to find something that I'd find a bit more fulfilling. I was sort of offered this job as a CAD technician. Didn't really know what that meant. Didn't really know what civil engineering was. So I started looking into that. Sort of thought this sounds pretty interesting, and haven't looked back since. So it's been a good journey so far. So I've been at PBA about 5 years almost, and in that time I've basically, my role is to produce 2D and 3D drawings. So what that really means is you need a road built or a bridge. It has to be designed, so the engineers will design it, and what that means is they go through all the standards required to design that piece of infrastructure, and then in order to get a contractor in to actually build that piece of infrastructure, they need a drawing to go off. So they need to see what it's going to look like, how it's going to all fit together, so they can actually go and build it. And that's where I step in, basically. So I put pen to paper, as it were, in a sort of digital sense, and make drawings. Those drawings then, they go to a contractor, they get priced up, make sure that the client is happy with the price and the specification, and then what happens then is they go and build it, essentially. Whilst at PBA, it's not just all about sort of the 9 to 5 and the day job, which is great. Yeah, there's a lot of STEM activities, so we're actually running a STEM activity here today. So it's going into schools, doing careers fairs, things like this, sort of engaging with young people, trying to tell them about what civil engineering is, really, so you don't have a sort of repeat of me where you don't know what it is and you could have got into it straight away out of school. So I'm mostly sort of covering engineering rather than apprenticeships, although I have done an apprenticeship. But yeah, highly recommend an apprenticeship in anything, even if civil engineering isn't what you're looking for. Definitely, if there's something else that you can do an apprenticeship in, definitely go for it. I mean, the days of going to uni and spending 60 odd grand now, maybe on some courses, is, unless you absolutely need to, just don't do it, I would say. What's the point? Earn while you learn, pretty much, is my message, if you can, because instead of coming out the other end with a massive debt, you could have earned, enough money to pay your way in the meantime. You come out at the end of it, and you're qualified, and you haven't got a debt, and you've got a solid career ahead of you, which is great, really. So it is a real alternative to sort of full-time uni education now, I think, for most careers. And in fact, we're doing a lot more. We're doing these degree apprenticeships now, which basically allows you to get into a degree a lot easier than it was before, essentially. So it's good news for the industry and good news for you as well, if that's what you're interested in. So what is civil engineering? So if this was me sitting here 10 years ago, this would have been probably quite useful. So engineering is different every day, really, and in its sort of purest form, engineering is solving a problem. So if you have a valley, you want to cross it because it takes half an hour to get round another way, or you could go 30 seconds over a bridge that doesn't exist, then you want to build a bridge. So in the process of sort of building this bridge, you need to think about all your constraints. So you can't just sort of plough through a forest, build your bridge, and that's all fine. You have to look at these things, work out, are there any badgers I'm going to kill off? Are there any ancient trees, sort of bats? There's ecology. You've got utilities to think of, the roads that connect there. So you're looking at transport, actually building the road, what's happening with the ground underneath. So all of these sort of multidisciplinary disciplines come into one design, basically, and that's what we do at PBA. So because we're multidisciplinary, we pretty much cover everything I just went through. So to get from literally nothing, a line on a drawing or a scrap piece of paper, to actually getting a bridge built, going there with our engineers and viewing it as it gets built and making sure that the contractors are building it properly. So yeah, that process really is true of any engineering discipline, not just civil. So if you're a mechanical engineer, obviously you need something to be manufactured, you've got to make the parts and design the parts that go towards it. So it's true of kind of most engineering, really. And it isn't a straight road, bit of a cliche, but isn't a straight road. It's kind of full of twists and turns. So it's not in the process of building this sort of theoretical bridge, you'll have plenty of designs at the start. You'll refine it down into what you think is the best design, but things never quite go according to plan. There's always things that are unexpected, things that will crop up at the last minute. You might get onto site and you'll have weather like this. That's going to put your construction behind by a week, maybe more. If you can't get people to site, obviously you can't build. So there's all sorts of hiccups along the way that you have to manage, and that's really a key part of it. It's not just the design, it's managing how it all goes together and programming it and slotting it all in the right place and making sure it works. So this ever-changing work is kind of really what keeps it interesting. If it all worked first time every time, that would be great, but it'd probably be a bit boring actually. So it's good that it sort of is challenging, and that's what sort of people like PBA, well, us at PBA excel at really, because there's a lot of big corporations out there who can sort of mass produce work, but we're quite specialist in a lot of areas that other massive consultancies don't really have a core specialisation in, so that's why we're good. So yeah, and this sort of, all of these different specialisations allow you to progress quite far down certain disciplines, and you could end up being a specialist in one quite small thing, but something that's very important, and that means that, you know, your role is going to be quite sought after. And sort of contrary to what a lot of people think, engineering isn't just maths. I'm not very good at maths, and maths was the hardest thing for me when I did my HNC, to be honest. But I got there in the end. HMC was good and got me through it in the end. So don't worry if you're not good at maths. You need to obviously have the minimum requirements to get in the first place, and you'll be doing maths, but you'll learn it as you go and you'll get through it. So yeah, working in engineering really, it makes you view the world quite differently, probably like any job in different ways. So you sort of start taking a more appreciation in the world we live in. So how everyone got here today, the roads, rail, obviously not such a great example when it's snowed in, you can't get around, but all of these things are designed initially by an engineer somewhere and built by contractors, and without them obviously life would be pretty much not how it is today. It'd be very different. If we're still on horse and cart everywhere, probably wouldn't be doing a careers fair on engineering, I guess. But yeah, and other things. So travelling's just one thing. Clean water, just having access to basic human requirements really, that in this country especially we take for granted that you wouldn't get in all areas of the world. And the roof over your head, that's always good. Essentially we wouldn't be living the way we do without civil engineering, so it's a vital sort of practice for society as a whole really. So that's why it's sort of quite a fulfilling career to get into, I would say. So going on to sort of a bit of a day in the life of what an apprentice does at PBA. So generally our apprentices, and certainly what I am, like I said before, is a CAD technician generally, which, like I said before, producing 2D drawings and 3D models in order to hand over. There's other sort of aspects of being a technician, but those are kind of the main ones really. So yeah, producing drawings and 3D modelling. So that'll be ground modelling, looking at how the ground works and how that bridge might interact with our existing ground and tying into everything. So yeah, this is where some of you may come in, one or two of you perhaps. So we're looking for 20 apprentices at the moment across the UK offices, and we've got 14 UK offices, and I think most of them will be taking on apprentices by the look of it. So we're all up and down the country. So yeah, you can apply now on the website. Applications close in April, and you can submit your CV and everything on there. But yeah, if you want to know more, come and talk to us. If you've got any specific questions, we'll help you out.